Hey guys, Kelade here. Welcome to my Mythic The Hivemind kill / commentary video. For this fight, we're just going to charge in, but we're not going to pop our cooldowns because the ads are going to spawn relatively quickly here. As far as our talents are concerned, I am using War Machine, Double Time, Sudden Death, War Paint, Carnage, Dragon Roar, and Siege Breaker. And now the only talent in question is War Machine, but we'll get to that in a second as the ads are about to spawn like right here. So when the ads spawn, I am going to pop my cooldowns, and you guys will notice in this fight, I actually using the Myrick's Fane from, I think, Temple of Sethras. So I am using that mainly because I don't really have any of the other good stat trinkets. Like I don't have a Butcher's Block or the Roland trinket. I would have probably used those on this fight if I had it. But just using what I have. The other trinket I'm using is the Torment in a Jar. Testing out the AoE trinkets to see how well they do. They're okay. Myrick's Fang actually seem to be doing a good amount of damage. So I don't know. Maybe if you have like a 4 for 75, it could really be worth using, especially on the little ads. I am using a 440 Ny'alotha here, so the damage can actually be even higher if you have a something that's relevant. These starters right here are very, very important. So it's very good that we have 2 blood DKs in this fight. We are 3 tanking, so they can of course have a bunch of grips, right? They have their normal grip and then they have their Gorfiends, whatever. So you want to get them down. All CCs work on these ads, right? Just to interrupt their cast, because whenever they finish a cast, they fly around and they do AoE damage, so you don't want that. We did start the fight on Tetris. You want to stay on him as long as you can in the beginning, other than killing the ads, of course. And then we're going to follow Kazir around for the rest of the fight. And then, of course, your range, whenever they can, hit Tetris. Because with our current strategy, the way that our raid moves, you're going to see we're going to focus Kazir way more, and he's going to be lower more percent of the time. So right here, the ad spawn. So the problem with the ads and Fury Warrior in this fight is that these ads, or all set of ads, basically spawn at around like a 1:10, like 1 minute 10-second timer, right? Unfortunately, our cooldowns are more so at the 1 minute 30-second timer, so your cooldowns won't sync up with every single ad wave. But if you use your cooldowns on this, like these little drone ads in their first set, they will be up for right here, these darters. And these darters get more and more important because there's going to be less cooldowns, right? Just as I mentioned, how the 1 minute 10-second is an issue. It's an issue for every class, right? And so it's very important that you have your cooldowns up for these. Like even here, we didn't have the perfect cooldowns or the stuns to get these guys killed, and they started healing a bit, which is unfortunate. So we wasted a lot of DPS. I didn't want to charge the other one because I was afraid I was going to get charged and get gripped just like this. So yeah, I was afraid of the other one happening, and I went to the second one for it to not happen, but it happened anyway. So that's what it is. But these Roly Polies, of course, you don't want to get hit by them. On Mythic, they leave a pretty nasty dot that basically means if you don't have the enrage regen and a health pot ready to be used, you're practically dead, right? The other thing about the Myrick's Fang, I use it again right there, is that it's on a 2-minute cooldown, so you can only use it like every other ad pack. But it still seemed to be pretty good damage, even when I was only using it every other pack. And then I just use Blaze Storm whenever it's up. It's whenever, especially the little drones are up, because it's going to do the most there. And because the darters are only winning 3 ads, you don't really need to Blaze Storm them because your cleave hits 5 targets anyways, right? So you can just Blaze Storm the drones whenever you can. So you guys can see right here. So like these little, the green Roly Polies going around, it's actually probably the easiest when you're like next to them. You want to be like on the edges of the room because the Roly Polies very rarely, now it will happen where occasionally like one Roly Poly might just like go sideways or go straight out the room. But generally, when the Roly Polies spawn, they'll go across the room. So let's say there's 2 around you. If you stand in between them against a wall, you probably just dodged 2 already, right? So this is the spread mechanic. Just make sure you're spread and then you're not on top of each other. And then also when the spikes come up, don't be on top of either because it's going to give you a healing debuff for 5 seconds where you can't be healed, and very dangerous because the only way you live is just don't take any more damage because nobody else can pick you up. So here's another ad spawn right here. So we get a Blaze Storm on top of all these things. So quickly, because of all these ads, note about War Machines that I was looking at the rage gain on logs afterwards. It did seem like it did a good amount of rage gain comparatively to Endless Rage. The only problem with the War Machine is that if all the ads die at the same time, it actually is kind of easy to overcap on rage. And if you look at my logs, it does have a good amount of rage that gets wasted from War Machine, right? Because if the ads are dying, as you're like 90 rage, let's say 3 ads die, bam, you got to 100 rage and you capped out and you wasted like 20 rage, right? So that's the only issue. So I think as I play with it more, I would have just had to pay more attention to my rage, just make sure I'm spending it better. As far as for how many times like we did this fight, I don't know if I have a good idea on whether or not it's really good or not, but we'll see. I'll test it again next week, and then we'll see on stream if it's still as good or if we should be using Endless Rage instead. I think if you want to be safe, go Endless Rage. But if you are feeling that you can really benefit from the extra rage from the ads dying all the time, try it out. So right here, we're getting pretty close to the boss dying. I mean, the bosses are in a phase of the fight where we can stack them together. Once again, we group them up, spread a little trinket on everybody, right? Get some rage, get enraged, and then we're going to Blaze-Storm all these ads again. So I actually have my cooldowns coming up right now on the bottom right. You can kind of see my Recklessness and my Blood Enemy. I really wanted to wait for my Siege Breaker to come up so I can cleave them, but I should have just used it. The bosses were like 5% when I thought about this, but they actually ended up dying really quickly, and I'm using my cooldowns right as they're all dead. So I should have used them a little bit earlier. I probably could have done a little bit more damage if I just pop all my cooldowns at the same time. You can see me hover overing it. But yeah, that's it for the Hivemind. Very short fight for us. I know some guilds take much longer, but we had a 5-minute 41-second kill time, so we actually had pretty good boss damage on top of all the ads. As always, thanks for checking out the video, guys. Feel free to subscribe to see more. See ya.